Right, I think we're recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Robbos Gobcast sports show, the Reading FC podcast. And I've just come over from actually a better podcast at the Tilehurst end, but don't tell Mark that, to do this podcast this Saturday night, which will be uploaded for you on Monday. I think it's Monday at 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. So we'll see how that one goes. But we're doing something a bit new today. Usually we'd be doing an Instagram live after the game and then uploading it to Instagram and that. But today we're doing something a bit different, and this is going to apply to all the weekends really until the end of the season. Is that we're going to do a podcast tonight, which is not live, but it will then be recorded tonight and then released for you on a Monday. But fear not, because we'll be back in midweek to do some of the midweek games on Instagram Live. And I explained a bit of this earlier when I went live on Insta, just for a few minutes, just to update you all when I've uploaded that to Insta, just to make you all aware of that. But apart from that, what else was I going to say? Oh, I think Mark actually mentioned this as well on the Friday podcast. But without further ado, I'll introduce David, who's done some very, very good work on the Instagram lives and has been great in terms of participating. And I think this is your podcast debut. So how are you, David?
It is, yeah. I'm very good, thank you. Getting come down to earth after a good 3 points, really.
I think that's the main thing. I think getting the 3 points. I said on my match report, I said, we weren't exactly on top of our game today, but I think we were, all we need to do really was get the 3 points, and that's the only thing you have to do. The one thing that I would say before we get this podcast fully underway was about Tuesday night, and Mark spoke about it on a couple of podcasts, and he also put, I think he put a video on Insta as well, and talked about the incident that happened on Tuesday night with just some different things. Usually we only have a couple of people on the podcast, that on the Instagram live, watching. We usually have like 3, 4, 5 people probably at most. But on Tuesday night, this guy came on with me, came on the live, and he brought quite a few people, I think. I think at one stage there was about 30 people on it. It was absolutely ridiculous, and the numbers were just going up and up and up and up. And with that, we love interacting with as many people as possible, but with that comes the increased chance of aggravation, and it proved to be true on Tuesday night. We can take jokes, and we're more than happy to have a laugh with you. And if you get me to say some silly names, then that's fair enough, because it actually works on AFTV and Mark Goldbridge and that, and I'm happy to say some funny things, even if they're rude and they catch me out. But I draw the line at bigotry and personal insults, and I apologise to anyone if I didn't handle it correctly. I was in two minds whether to give the incident which happened, which was the person trying to get me to say the racial slur. If I handle it incorrectly, then I apologise for that. But I try not giving oxygen really to the to the issue in general. And I look back on it, and maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Maybe I should have confronted it. And the reason why I confronted it, and maybe many others don't, and I understand why they don't, but I confronted it because it seems to be a trend of people trying to get people to say racist things. And for me, that's where I absolutely draw the line. When you're trying to get people to say racist things, you've gone way too far. And I just hope that there's not a repeat of Tuesday night, because there was also some personal insults thrown. It's just not good enough, really. We're here to have a laugh with you, and if you get me to say something silly, then that's like fair enough, and we'll have a laugh about it. But there's no need for personal insults or racism or bigotry, because that's just not the way to go about things. But we will be back. I'm not sure about your schedule, David, but I'll definitely be back anyway in midweek for the Blackburn game. And I'll be doing, or we'll be doing an Instagram live again, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with that, and hopefully another 3 points. Rant over. Time to get into the game. Time to get into the good news. The Rotherham game. Now on Instagram Live, David, we usually go through it chronologically. I just have this thing. I have this thing of I need to go through it chronologically from the start of the day, from when I wake up, right until the present day, which is, well, not present day, but present time, which is now. So the lineup came out at 2 p.m. So let's actually go even before that. So before the lineup even came out, how were you feeling about today's game?
Nervous, to be honest. I sort of thought, we have a good enough team to have got the 3 points today, but I knew it would be tough because, the Rotherham, they're battling down the bottom and, fighting for their lives. So knew it wouldn't be an easy game. Obviously after Tuesday night's result and that, it's sort of like, it puts a little bit of doubt in your mind sort of thing. But I was sort of maybe 60-40%, 60-40 confident we get the points today. That, the lads knew Tuesday night wasn't good enough. And I sort of had a little, confidence to that extent that they would come back and have a bit of reaction, really. And it sort of worked out that way. So, yeah.
I think there's been a common theme that has run through the previous 3 games, and that's nerves. Which before every single game, before Middlesbrough there was, before Wickham there was, and rightly so. And today I felt there was, there was nerves. But I think on the large part, I think fans kind of treated it as a new day, and as a kind of like a fresh start, which I'm actually really kind of grateful for, because we didn't want any of that bad feeling infiltrating in today's game, and that's probably the last thing that the players needed, especially because a lot of them are active on social media. So I just treated today like a new start. I used my preview really to encourage people to try and remain as positive as possible. I know it's hard because we lost the bottom of the league on Tuesday, and it was an especially poor performance. But I thought today was a fresh start, and I was really happy actually with what was going on pre-match and the hashtag, and it didn't seem to be bad at all. So so the starting 11 then came out. There was mixed reactions to it. So Raphael was in goal. Richards returned at left back. We had Morrison and Moore in the middle. Hughes out on the right. We had Semedo and Laurent, Rinomota, Elise, Ajaria, and Luca Zhao. There was mixed reactions, as I said. How did you feel about it?
I thought it was a decent size. It's a side, sorry. Obviously, McIntyre probably would have felt a little bit, been playing well, a bit gutted enough to be in the starter lineup, as will Holmes. But I think what Pauno was trying to do this time was to sort of attack the game a bit more, because obviously Tuesday night seemed very defensive and didn't obviously get the results. I think he tried to go for it a bit more. I personally think it was a good shout. It's always good to have Holmes and McIntyre on the bench to come on to sort of as a change later on in the game. Obviously Morrison is he's a no mover at the minute. He's one of the first names on the team sheet, I think. He's been such a brick wall for us, and getting goals as well, important goals. So but no, I was quite happy. I was hoping to see Puskás with Joe up top. But maybe Puskás not quite ready to start just yet. And but no, all in all, I was quite happy with the team, to be honest. I think Rhino did a good job down the right. He was running up the ball, trying to get, he wouldn't kind of give their players much time to to rest on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I was quite happy with the team overall.
I think there was 5 things that I wanted, and I can't really list all of them because I've forgotten them. But one of them that I really wanted that did actually happen was Yiadom and Richards back. I think we needed some width down the wings. I really do, and I think that was sorely missing. I know that McIntyre did an all right job there, and Holmes obviously does his job at right back, but we were missing, I think, that attacking emphasis, and it was good that we managed to get that back. I wanted Ajaria more central, I have to admit. I thought he was really good, actually, centrally against Wickham in the first half, especially, and actually had some sort of impact. I wanted Yaku Mate back on the bench, but you know, if he's injured and still, then you know, then you don't want to risk him at all. Even on the subs bench, you don't want him because you know, at some point you may have to bring him on. So no, I'm totally happy if you know, if he was still injured and they didn't want to risk him, and I think that's a sensible option. And I did want Puskás and Zhao up front, as you said, to really take the game to Rotherham, to play that diamond where we can make the most of our strengths, have Yiadom and Richards going down the wings and crossing in to Puskás and Zhao, and also to give Zhao that bit of support because he looked a bit isolated, especially against Wickham and against Middlesbrough. He looked very, very isolated, and I thought putting Puskás up there would probably help. But I think the one hesitancy that I had with Puskás was his match fitness, because I don't think he's played a lot over the past few weeks. I think he played one game for the under-23s, and I think he played 65 minutes. So that was good for him. But apart from that, I mean, in terms of first team action, there hasn't really been a lot recently. So
maybe. Sorry, I was going to say maybe Pauno's just sort of gradually bringing him back slowly, and obviously he's an option on the bench. Sort of if we need to sort of go that little bit extra to try and get a goal. Obviously today he went a little bit more defensive with Holmes and McIntyre, so he was obviously content and happy with the way it was going and sort of obviously the scoreline it was at the minute at the time. But yeah, I think you're right. If he's not completely match fit or anything like that, which he wouldn't be, it's probably wise not to start him anyway.
I think the one main point of concern that I had though was Semedo and Rinomhota and Laurent all starting together. It did seem a bit defensive for me at 2:00, but then you had Rinomhota, I think, lining up on the right hand side. So, which I had to say I'm not 100% keen, because I think Laurent and Rinomhota come as a pair. I really do. You know, I have nothing against Semedo. I actually like some of what he's done since he's arrived from Benfica on loan. But I just wouldn't have broken up that partnership. But that's Pauno's choice, and we're 5th at the moment, so I can't really complain. That's the thing. That's a frustrating thing, but it's the great thing as well that we're 5th, and you know, I can question some of his decisions, but you know, I've got to give him leeway at some point. You know, it'd be different if it was, you know, if we were 19th under like Paul Clement or something. I think it would be a lot different. But I think that's fair enough. McIntyre, you glazed over, and I absolutely agree that he probably feels a bit unlucky to be dropped. Who would you have started today, centre back wise?
Morrison, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, really, because obviously you've got Moore, that's the captain. He's got obviously more experience than McIntyre. That could be what shades it for Moore, but obviously for recent performances, you've got to give McIntyre a shout as well to start, because he's obviously, whilst Moore's been injured, McIntyre and Morrison have been quite a good partnership at the back, and so that is quite a tough question, really. Could I have a shout for
good
three?
dilemma to have.
All three at the back.
Yeah, it's a good dilemma and Holmes.
And Holmes as well, exactly.
So it's
And
a good
obviously
dilemma to
Holmes,
have.
yeah, it is. And that's where your squad depth comes in.
Yeah.
And obviously over the last few months with injuries, squad depth has been a lot talks about. And, we didn't sign anyone in January. But I don't know, if you look at it now, with most of the injuries back, and obviously still mated to come back in the coming game, hopefully Tuesday, you never know. The squad depth isn't the worst that it could be. Maybe one or two players that we could have maybe hopefully added to increase the depth, but we've still got decent players to come on, and if need be. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing all three start at the back.
Yeah.
Obviously with your Richards and the Eardom wing backs, obviously going down the lines. So that
I
would be
think for
my.
me,
Sorry, I was going to say that would be my ideal sort of like to have. But I'm maybe sitting on the fence a little bit here with that, but I like all three of them. If I'm honest, they got different strengths and that. So
is
yeah, I
it
wouldn't
just
mind.
me, or do you think we'd be in a bit of trouble if Holmes and McIntyre hadn't have stepped up this season? Because they've been
Probably
quite important.
yes. Yeah. No, they've definitely had massive part in where we are at the minute. Holmes obviously had a good few months playing at right back. He's sort of excuse me, he's sort of come into it like he's been playing right back for years, and he's technically a centre back.
Yeah.
So fair play to him for playing in a strange sort of position, um, but yeah, McIntyre, I think he's been an important part of the defense as well, with Morrison. Not always just in the back either. He's moving forwards, getting the ball forwards.
Centre attacking mid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's
On the
played
wing.
that this season. So, fair play to both lads. They're still young and they're not afraid, and they've been a pivotal part of our season so far.
One more key question for you, because I've said my piece on Semedo and not breaking up the Laurent and Rinomota partnership, and I think I would add potentially a Luco out wide, and instead of, I would have had Semedo probably on the bench. I would have had Rinomota, Laurent, and then I would have had Ajaria, Elise, or Elise, Ajaria, and then a Luco out on the right hand side. So I've said a piece on Semedo. Would you have started Semedo today?
Well, I kind of agree with what you just said there. Because Aluko down the right, with Ajaria and Elise. Obviously, I totally agree with the Rhino and Laurent partnership. They've been massive for us in the centre of the park there. And that's so. Semedo on the bench, maybe come on a bit later on, because he's a decent option to have, with his experience that he's had over, obviously coming from Benfica, played for Forest as well. So yeah, I probably would have had him on the bench, but then maybe brought him on for the last 20 odd minutes to sort of, protect the leads that we ultimately had. So yeah, I quite agree with what you just said, to be honest.
Did you feel any different before and after the lineup, or were you still 60-40?
Yeah, pretty much. Because I'd say maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was little things that maybe I would have hoped for that wasn't in the team sheet.
Yeah.
But I still thought we had enough to ultimately get the points, but knew it wouldn't be easy as well. So that's where your sort of doubt comes into it a little bit, because you saw on Tuesday night, you get complacent and you think you're going to just go there and win. That's it. So yeah, I probably 70-30. I think once I saw the team sheet and that, because obviously Richards came back in, Dom came back in. I thought we'd attack them a bit more as well, which ultimately we did really.
It's one of the reasons why I wanted to have Aluko in the side instead of Semedo, is the fact that we'd have that increased emphasis on attacking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been that we might have scored even more, perhaps. But
Mm-hmm.
The game has been gone now, and we don't know how it would have gone with Aluko in the side. But I think the game was definitely there for the taking, even early on. Did you think, because we made a much faster, we couldn't have made a slower start really than against Wickham, because we just couldn't get our foot on ball at Adams Park?
Yeah.
Do you think I would say, reasonably quick start. Do you think our reasonably quick start contributed to the win?
I think so, because I think although Rotherham did quite well, I felt we had some good sort of attacking, like going forward as well, and I think that built the confidence going forward in the match. And whether it be going forward, creating chances, Richards getting down the line, crossing it in for Jow, which unfortunately he missed, but we were creating chances and causing them a few issues. There was an effort where it came out from, I don't know if it was a corner or something, and Richards had a shot and the keeper tipped it over the bar. So we were creating chances, and obviously that built confidence going forwards. So I would say, it ultimately affected how the game sort of panned out, really.
It was promising. I think we needed to make that sort of start. Otherwise, I think we might have capitulated. Were you ever really concerned with the threat of Rotherham, especially aerially?
At times, yes. There's a few balls that went into the box where their attacking players got on the end of it, and I went over, I think, was it Smith or something? One of their attacking forwards got over and headed it over the bar. I was quite nervous at times.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I think we had it okay, and I thought we had it quite, wouldn't say comfortable, but had it under control. But there were times, I felt their aerial threat was quite dangerous at times.
Mm-hmm. We'll get on to the goal now. I think that's probably the best part of the game, the goal. Richards with the fantastic cross. We've been critical of his performances recently, and all the speculation surrounding him and Bayern Munich. But it was a fantastic cross into the middle. I mean, I think even Moore might have been able to get something on it if Morrison hadn't been able to. So, he's crossed it into the box. Absolutely fantastic. Morrison struck the ball. Keeper's palmed it back out, and then Morrison has followed up. Fair play to him, and put it in the, I would say in the back of the net, but it was goal line technology which saved us in the end. And thank God for goal line technology. That's the one. So thank God for goal line technology on that one. I mean, how important is Michael Morrison right now, especially offensively and defensively?
He's come on over the when we signed him up. Obviously, he was this no nonsense defender, and he still is, but he's adding goals to his game as well. And obviously, the goal against Bristol City, the goal today, he's coming up with some important goals, and he's, like I said earlier, he's definitely got to be one of the first names on the team sheet at the minute.
Yeah.
his determination to get onto the ball as it came back out from the keeper's save. He, you could just see him going, obviously tap it in over the line. From what I saw, it looked like it was over the line anyway, so I was quietly confident that the ref was going to give it. But obviously, when he pointed to the centre spot, it was like, yes, that's brilliant. I think they, Moore and Morrison started running off, so I think they kind of knew it was as well.
Yeah.
But definitely important part of this defence, and the team, because he shouts directions. He's just a very important player, just to put it mildly.
I think I saw a stat on Twitter that only Yaku Mate and Lucas João had scored more goals than him this season for Reading. And it just goes to show really how important he's been. But I don't think this is really anything new. I think the last season he had with Birmingham City, he was also getting in and amongst the goals and as one of their top scorers, because he's a threat in the box at both ends. And he's just been fantastic. So, and I think Rotherham still had their chances. They could have easily equalised, I think, but I think at some stages of the game we were comfortable. The last attack of the first half, then the ball's come into the box, and how did Semedo miss that one?
Oh, I know. Oh my goodness.
Feels so bad.
It just seemed, it came across, didn't it? It just came across the box, and Semedo obviously at the far post, and it seemed easier to score, I suppose. And you could tell his anger when he kicked the post in anger afterwards.
You know what? I'm going to use. I'm sorry about. I'm going to use the Mate Vidra defence, because Vidra always used to get himself in the right positions, but he just didn't finish his chances.
Yeah.
And this is a case in point with Semedo, is the fact that he got himself in exactly the right position, but unfortunately didn't manage to put the ball in. But yeah, carry on with your point.
No, that's what I was going to say, that it's like I say, it seemed easier to score. I think it came across the box quite quickly, and perhaps he wasn't quite expecting it, and it wasn't quite like, he didn't anticipate it so much, and perhaps that sort of had a reason why he didn't quite get it inside the post rather than onto the post, sort of thing. But I suppose on a positive, he was there, he was in that area, and it caused the Rotherham defence some nerves, sort of thing. And he scored a couple of goals he scored for us this season?
He scored against Luton, yeah. I'm not sure if he scored. He's got. I think he got an assist against Blackburn, but I can't remember.
Did he score that one goal against Millwall from near the halfway line?
Yeah, that's it. How did I forget that? How did I forget such a goal? Unbelievable. Semedo's solo effort. Fantastic goal. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I mean, I think his miss, in a way, should be a source of encouragement today, rather than something that's disappointing, because of the fact that he'd actually got himself in the right position, as you said. Half time, what did you think then at half time? What were your thoughts?
I thought at half time that's a decent first half, going forward. I thought we played quite a decent game. Obviously, there was some little things we had to keep an eye on, their attackers, but I was still nervous. But that's just me, I think. During
all Reading fans,
you just because you just never know what Reading's going to turn up.
Yeah.
But no, I was hopeful that obviously we were going to maybe nick a second goal, or make it a bit more comfortable. But I was quietly confident we, pick up the points in the end. But yeah, it's just a little bit nervous because you just never know.
I think until you get the second goal, I think
Yeah.
you're always going to be nervous. And
Exactly.
I think especially against Rotherham, because I think if we got the second goal before half time, they would have just been dead and buried already.
Yeah.
Usually I'd say let's get 3. But I think against Rotherham, I think we would have secured all 3 points if we definitely got that second goal. Fortunately, we didn't manage to at half time. But I think the one main message that I think I would have had, or perhaps 2 main messages, which might be conflicting in a way, but firstly, keep it tight at the back. Keep
Absolutely.
the clean sheet, and we've got the 3 points.
Yeah.
Secondly, attack is the best form of defence. Keep on going and keep on pushing for that second goal. And that's why I was a bit baffled by the substitution where I think it was a Javier that came off McIntyre. And I said on Twitter that, I wasn't sure about taking one of our most creative players off for a defender, and I made that clear on Twitter. But, and I think it was Josh that replied, and I just said, look, I just hope this works. In Pauno we trust, and that's the only thing that we can do. We can't do anything else. We can't get behind them in the stands. So we just got to sit and pray and hope that it works.
And to be fair, Ajaria did have a good game today. He I thought most of our attackers really, like Ajaria, Elise, had a decent game in midfield. Creating chances, getting past their players. So yeah, I could see what your point there really, because obviously Ajaria going forward is a tricky customer to play against. So yeah, no, it's a fair point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's substitutions have come into question. I think a lot, Paunovic, especially in recent games when our form hasn't been so good. So I was really happy actually to see that I wouldn't say his substitutions kind of paid off, but they didn't punish us, and I think that's the main thing. I think that's the main thing that we kind of have to take away from that. Another question for you: do you think we should have been more arrogant after half time? We've got to say to ourselves, we're sitting fifth. As it stood, we were sitting fifth in the league. We've got the players to go forward and grab a second. Why aren't we playing like a side that's fifth in the championship against a side in the relegation zone? Why didn't we go for it more? We should have taken the game by the scruff of the neck. That's what we needed to do, especially in that first half. I was saying, take the game by the scruff of the neck, control possession, and get that second goal and third. And hey, who knows how many we could have scored? But do you think we should have been more arrogant in that way?
Yeah, we could have been. Obviously we are flying high in the table and pushing for the playoff spot for promotion and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we definitely could have done. Whether recent results have brought a little bit of caution into Pauno, and within the team, and of it, like getting the 3 points was the main aim, no matter how pretty or ugly the game was. But no, obviously, like you say, we've definitely got the players to do so. It's the only thing I can think of really that why perhaps he went a little bit more defensive towards the end of the game, because that extra backup to get the points rather than, like you say, of like going forward, being arrogant and all that. Yeah, that's the only way I can really think of why he perhaps didn't do that towards the end of the game. Like
moving from defence to up front, how do you think Lucas Shaw got on today?
I didn't actually think he was that bad.
I don't think he was that bad.
I think they sort of crowded him out half the time. And like when he actually got past their defence, they fouled him. And like they were literally sticking to him like glue. And that is, he's sort of like, from his own success this season, like the amount of goals he scored and everything. And I think it's sort of like they're sort of targeting him a bit, these sort of teams, and they know the threat he has. But no, I think he had a decent game. You know, he had the odd touch, I think, that went a bit astray and that. But I think he battled at times, you know, trying to get the ball and off their like midfielders and that. He tracked back a little bit deeper. So
I think
but yeah, I don't think
people are saying that we should drop him, and I don't agree with that because I think we need his physicality. I think
absolutely.
you saw it in action today.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be the first to admit he hasn't had a good previous few games.
Oh, yeah.
No, he hasn't had the best game, especially that in the second half. That shot or attempted chip was a
Oh,
disaster, really, at the
yeah.
start of the second half.
Yeah. See,
Unfortunately, I think that's when people lost it with him, to be honest. But no, I think we need him for his physicality and the fact that, you know, because as you said rightly, in the past few games, defenders seem to be sticking to him like glue. But
they
then
do.
that gives the likes of Elise and Ajaria the real option to make the most of
Hmm.
the players that he's taken out of the game
Yeah.
and drive into that space. So I think he remains an important asset even when he's not scoring.
Yeah.
But I just hope he gets into some form soon. And I think I don't know, I'd back him to score in midweek against Blackburn. I really
Oh,
would to
definitely.
get back and to and to really you know because he's had quite a run of games now where he hasn't been injured because you know
Mm.
especially over the past few seasons and maybe even at Sheffield Wednesday he's been injured for you know for quite a while. You know he has a short run of games and then gets injured again, but he seems to have
Mm.
had quite a decent run now. He has, I mean, I think he made his return against Huddersfield, and that was right at the start of 2021, and he's
Yeah.
remained fit up until now. And honestly,
Hmm.
I believe that he might score on in midweek. I really wouldn't put it past him.
He's
Scored
definitely
against
got that
Blackburn.
quality, hasn't he, to do so? You know, and no matter how bit of a dodgy run he's going through, he's got that quality. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, you're right. I wouldn't put it up. I wouldn't put it against him to score against Blackburn, to be honest. I
Mhm.
really wouldn't.
I
You
think
know.
for Zhao as well, he's already scored against Blackburn this season. And it was an absolute
Yeah,
corker of a goal. That I think it was the fourth goal where we were 3-2 up at the time, and we
that's right.
really needed that fourth goal, and then Zhao goes on a solo run and curls it
Mm.
into the corner. You know, that's all we need, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. And I think if he, you know, gets that goal against Blackburn, because I think he's suffering with a little bit of confidence at the minute.
Mhm.
You know, he knows he's sort of the target man for these defenders. And I'm not saying like, you know, I'm not saying he's not had chances and he could have done better, because yeah, of course. But I think the like I said before, the quality's there, and he's shown throughout this season he can score goals left, right, and centre
Mhm.
and make something out of nothing. So I think he's just going through a bit of a bad patch, and he could easily turn it around for himself and obviously for us as well. Um,
What do you make of his body language? Because I don't think it's. I'm sitting here crossed arms now, and that's bad body language for me. What do you make of his body language and his persona? Some people are saying that it's a problem that he's having a stroke. I mean, I don't see it as a problem. There was only one time where
no,
I saw it as a bit of an issue, and that was when I think he was looking at the fourth official when the ball was still in play, and that was one incident where I was like, "Come on, Zhao, you know, what's he doing?"
yeah,
Um, I mean, what do you make of it?
I think at the minute he's just going through a very frustrating time, and I think he's because I keep going back to it, but because a lot of teams are sort of targeting him as a danger man, I think he's getting kicked around. He's getting. I know he's a big strong lad. He can deal with it, but it's got to wind you up after a while. And obviously, in previous games, he's not really had to serve, you know, the service that he's he's been used to, I suppose, over the course of the season. I think he's just got to get his head back in the game and just sort of keep going. You know, going around us, it's not going to help things. As easy as it is to say rather than to do, to go around frustrated, and it's not going to help your game. You're going to try too hard, and I think that chance today, he was free on goal pretty much, and he fluffed the chip. I think he was trying too hard to get.
The thing that I would say, and someone tweeted this out, and I'm sorry to whoever posted this because I can't remember who it was, and I haven't given you a shout out for it. But he said, or he or she said, that he tries to make everything look effortless, and I think that's the thing, because sometimes, as the poster said, you just want to put your foot through it, and totally agree with it. You know, and that's what he needed to do. He needs to put it into the bottom corner.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he didn't. One more question I'm going to ask you then about the game, you know, during the game, because I think we'll wrap this up quite quickly. Just the second half performance in general, what do you think of the second half?
I think second half, it was a professional sort of performance. Sort of, they've got the noses in front. I think they tried to get forward and to, obviously, you know, they created some chances, but I think it was more defensive, because obviously Rotherham came out and they started quite brightly. So I think, more of a professional sort of performance. Like, they got the goal and they saw the game out. I wouldn't say, like I say, comfortably, but because they were nervous, right?
That
Literally.
stoppage time. That stoppage time chance where he should have hit it. The Rotherham player should have hit it early, and it might have gone in the back of the net. Oh my God, that was when my heart was in my mouth.
That was the last 5 minutes, like the injury time. They had all them corners and the late throw-ins and getting the ball in the box. And, you know, fair play to our defence. They stood tall, and, you know, that one that literally flew an inch past the post. Fair play to the I don't know who it was that got in the way, but I didn't quite see. But they battled. They kept going, and I can't really fault the team as a whole. You know, we got the goal, we defended it, you know, pretty decent most of the time, and they never gave up, you know, when they were under the cosh, especially
I didn't have commentary on. Apparently, I'm going to give it the shout outs to the guys, because I listened to a tiny bit of it. The guys in Rotherham who were on the radio, apparently they were very good and didn't stop talking about it good.
Yes, they were. To be fair, they love Mick Goodwin up there.
Yeah, and I listened to the pitch noise, and that shot that you were just saying about, which went like an inch wide of the post, I actually heard Rotherham, the Rotherham coaching staff, or all the players, actually cheer for a second because they thought it had gone in.
Wow!
It just goes to show how close it really was, because it did look. Yeah. I thought it was in.
I did. To be honest, I thought it was going in, and I think because I had the commentary on, just for a bit of effect, really. And they started to celebrate, and then they realised it had gone past the post. So I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know. I just wanted to them to blow the whistle. It got too much. It got too much. It just been so typical of Reading the last few games for them to score that equaliser.
Typical of our luck. And the thing that was making me more nervous is the fact that we had, I think it was Richards, Morrison, Moore, Yeardom, Holmes, McIntyre, all of them, and we were getting more and more defensive. And I was thinking, oh my God, don't get penned back into your own box. And I guess for a bit of injury time, that's exactly what it was like. But I guess that's inevitable, really, when the home side are 1-0 down and need to go for that draw, because they're in the relegation zone at the moment, and they need the points. So of course they're going to go for it. Where did the referee get that 5 minutes of injury time from?
Oh, good question. Yeah, good question. I didn't think there was that many stops in the second half, to be fair. I know the Rhino was down, wasn't he? And he came off. I don't know if that was. Do you know what the outcome of Rhino's was for his injury? Because I haven't heard anything.
I mean, I don't think. Well, from the looks of it, apparently it might be hamstring, which is usually not very good. But
Right.
it didn't look in too much pain. But we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
It's one of those which we have to wait and see. But
Ah,
I haven't got an update on that yet. I'm sure Pauno will have given Jonathan Lowen that an update on that one. So I'll have a look afterwards. But
yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Because
not
I.
100% sure.
Oh, okay. No, no, that's fine. I just wondered because I had to go out pretty much after the game finished, and
Yeah.
I haven't properly seen much of the Twitter update since and that. But yeah, no. So that's one that I was just interested in. So that's the only thing I could think of because he was down for a little bit, but for 5 minutes I thought maybe that was maybe 2 or 3 minutes perhaps, but maybe 5 minutes was a bit much.
Yeah, I wrote the match report, had dinner, had a bath, and now I'm on here, so I haven't had a chance really to
Mm.
really go through it all. So I'll be in the same position as you after this podcast. I'm sure that I'll sit down with a drink and go through what people have been saying on Twitter. But that's the game all done and dusted and reviewed. 3 points. But now we'll get onto the player ratings like we usually do on the Insta Live. We may as well do it for the podcast as well.
Yeah, why not?
Starting off with Raphael, I'm going to give him a 6. What are you going to give him?
Yeah. I pretty much agree with that 6 because he didn't have that much to do, but what he did do, he sort of he dealt with it, had a couple of punches out, and a few couple of catches, and the one near the end or in the second half where he had to go down low and keep hold of the ball. So yeah, 6. Yeah.
I mean, that one where it was shot straight at me could have easily spilled. So I think he was
Exactly.
quite a calming presence at the back, and I think he was underrated in this game for sure. Mark posted something on Twitter and Instagram. I think he's equaled a record or done better than many other keepers in terms of clean sheets this season. So fair play
Right.
to Raphael for that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he was better last season, but I thought,
Okay.
still been good at times this season. In the box especially, he's world class, but outside the box sometimes he struggles. But
Yeah,
he's done more than enough to start the next game, Raphael, and I'd keep him in.
definitely. I totally agree with that, to be honest. And that's actually quite an amazing stat because obviously he's had his critics this season and that, and fair play to him for keeping going, um, and getting those clean sheets that he has got. So yeah, well, fair play to him.
I think the start of the season really helped him as well because I think we'd only conceded like one goal out of our first, was it 7 games? I think it was something ridiculous like that. It's been
Yeah,
very good for him as well to have that record, and hopefully that goes on to give him more confidence for the rest of the season because it will be very important as we stay in this playoff race. I guess that's what it's
yeah.
called.
Hmm.
Autos. I never thought autos were really a possibility. So, but we definitely have a chance of getting in the playoffs. Moving on to Omar Richards, 7 for me because of the assist. Didn't really have any worries down that left hand side. Dealt with everything fine, and defensively was pretty sound. And I think he was the difference at the end of the day in terms of providing that width. Down the
Yeah,
left hand side, especially because Ajari is not that kind of wide, kind of orthodox player that you play there. So what are you going to give him?
yeah. I'd probably inch it a little bit higher, 7.5, because, so he had a reasonably comfortable game.
Mhm.
Obviously had the cross into the box as well. That it was pretty good. I don't know what else much to say really, because like you say, it was quite a comfortable game for him. He battled quite well in the defensive half as well. So, but yeah, no, 7.5. Um, yeah,
More?
more. I think about the same. I think nothing. I would say spectacular in the sense. Pretty steady in the back. Had a few clearances as well that he had got on the ball and sort of cleared it away from danger. I think if I remember rightly. So yeah, I think it's a bit same as Richards.
I'm going to go with a 7, I think, for more. Thought he was steady Eddie at the back. Kept clean after Tuesday's shambles and did very well. Morrison, I'm going to give an 8. Firstly, because he was solid at the back. Secondly, because of the goal, was an absolute game changer and what he offers offensively. So 8 for me. What are you going to give him?
To be honest, it's funny you said 8 as I was literally thinking give Morrison an 8. Obviously his defensive attributes are up there with one of the best, with the best defenders in the league. Obviously he's attacking, he got the goal, gave us a crucial 3 points. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with an 8 for him as well.
Yeardon, I think I might go, because it'd be harsh of me not to give him a 7 because I've given Richards a 7, but Richards got the assist, and for me, Yeardon was absolutely fine. Did reasonably well, so I'll probably give him. If we're doing 0.5s, I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty decent game. Up and down the right side. He sort of seemed to keep going, and that's a pretty steady match overall. I don't think he got caught that much down his side. I don't think.
No worries really. Same as Richards.
So I'll probably maybe stretch him to a 7.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah.
Fine, yeah. Lauren.
I'd give him a 7 as well. Pretty steady in the center of the park. Pretty normal for him, to be fair. He got stuck in. I remember one pass. I think it was on the outside of his boot, and he put it wide in, to sort of stretch the play a bit. Kept going. Yeah, pretty standard for Laurent, to be fair.
I'm going to go with 6.5, I think, for me. I think, of course, you're going to notice him less and less when you're expecting those type of performances from him, but I have been noticing him just that bit less recently. Maybe he's a bit tired. But I'd go with the 6.5 for Lauren. I think another steady performance. I don't think he's really had a performance really under 6 this season. He's been very consistent, and it's been fantastic. If this was the first game of the season, if it was Derby away and he'd put in a similar sort of performance, I'd probably give him a 7. But you're expecting this kind of performance from him now, so I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Semedo, pretty steady, 6.5, I think. He got on the ball. From what I remember, he got on the ball quite well. He drove forward a few times, he got back. He a little bit like Laurent. Just I think that pass Laurent sort of made me push that up a bit more. But I think Semedo a 6.5, pretty steady performance.
I think there was a couple of times where he struggled a bit, but I think I'd give him a 6 because I think he was, he wasn't a disadvantage to the team. I think that's the way that I look at it. He wasn't a disadvantage at all. He, whilst he didn't add a huge amount, I thought he was half decent. And if you're going to step into the shoes of someone like Rinomota, you've got to be decent and on it, and try and be as consistent as him, which is pretty much impossible. So yeah, I'll give Semedo a 6. I thought he was fine today. Rinomota.
I think he did all right down the right side. He made some runs. There was a pass down the right hand side where he went for, got it, and he was just offside. I think I'd give him probably a 7 because he did a decent job. He battled. Repeating myself a bit. Battled well. And he was in a position he's not really sort of used to. He's more obviously used to more central, and even at times at right back, but the sort of right midfield or that attacking right, he's not that used to. But I think he did a decent job down there.
I'm going to give him a 6, but I really want to see him in central midfield again. I think that's where he's most effective. And that's why I really have to stay on that. I mean, he always gives 110% Rinomota. He's always going to be an asset to your team. He's always going to be consistent, and he'll play it right back, right wing back, right mid, centre mid. So, he'll do a job for you anywhere. He might not be the absolute best out of his original position, but he'll sure do a job for you. And he's played central attacking mid as well. So we can't really say anything more really about that. Ajaria today, I thought was decent, showed some decent touches. I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. He had some really good touches. He played some good foot. Like, he got through some of their players quite well. Sort of changed little games a little bit, like with their players. He looked like he'd lost it, but I think he got it back again, and he didn't seem to give up when it looked, I suppose, easy to give up. But yeah, I'd give him a 7 as well because I thought he had a pretty decent game. He's had a few performances this season that have not been that great, but I think today he was a good part of our midfield going forwards, and that.
I think he's been fine this season. I just don't think that he's lived up to the expectations of last season or the season before.
Yeah.
And I think if he can get into that sort of form again, he could be absolutely brilliant for us, especially when we're competing for the top 6. At least for me, I think some of his runs today were fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to probably give him a 7. There was one particular run that I was really impressed with, and he tried to make things happen. And you can tell that he's more useful in the middle when he's in the action. I think he's fantastic. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay. So was it Elise in the middle today, or was it Ajaria?
I think it was Elise. I think Elise was in the middle. I think Ajaria was out wide, because I remember Ajaria being out wide. But either way, I thought Elise was very good today.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just wondering. I was trying to remember. Elise, maybe 7.5. Pretty, a good game. He did some decent corners into the box, caused a bit of trouble.
Yeah,
and a free kick, I think.
Very lively. That's the 2 words I'd use to describe him.
He was, and obviously he's still young, and he's had little performances where it's not been really up to his billing of what people expect from him. But yeah, no, I think both him and Ajaria had quite very, really lively games today. So I don't know if I've rated him yet, but 7.5, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
fair
I,
enough.
pretty, decent game.
I think it's similar with Ajayi because he was fantastic in the first half of the season, at least, and
Mm.
in the second half, well, I guess since the start of 2021, in many of the games, he hasn't lived up to those expectations, and I think he's trying to get back into some good form now. Lucas Zhao, I'm going to give a 5.5 to because his physicality was important in the game, and it still gave us he still held the ball up. It still kind of gave us a focal point. But I think two of the chances he missed kind of bumps down his score from a 6 to a 5.5 because he missed the one where Moore crossed the ball in for him, and he missed the one where the ball was played through and tried to chip the keeper and just went horribly wrong. So 5.5 for me. What are you going to give him?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, to be honest, because like we've talked about during this podcast, that he's like you say, his physicality, he caused trouble for the defense and that, but his finishing wasn't quite up to his normal standard, sort of thing, which he knew, I think. So yeah, I'd agree with 5.5, to be fair. There was good parts of him and obviously things that weren't quite so good today. So yeah.
McIntyre sub.
I suppose didn't have that long in that respect. So, but I like to give him a really high score. But I think what he did, he had to do, he dealt with it quite well. So going for that, I'd probably go for maybe, I don't know, 5.56.
I was going to go for 6.5 because as you said, what he did have to do, he did quite well. So I'm going to go with 6.5 for him. Estevez, I didn't really notice Estevez that much.
Yeah, I think he tracked back, I think, and to one of their attacks, and he put the ball out for a throw in. Yeah, he didn't have I don't think the desired effects of what he's capable of. So I think for him, I'd probably give him a 5.
I'd probably give him. It's probably harsh of me to rate Estevez higher than Zhao because Zhao's been in the game a lot more and contributed, physically, with his physicality. But I'd give Estevez a 6 just for the fact that he did what he needed to do. I don't think he was as good as McIntyre, or as noticeable as McIntyre anyway. But I thought he was, what he had to do, he did fine. And, people thought of him really as a liability earlier on in the season. He came on and he didn't look out of place. So for that reason, I've got to give him a 6. I think Holmes also came on, but I think that was stoppage time. So I can't really.
Yeah, I think it's only the last few minutes.
I can't give him a grade really, but we'll do a 3-man match candidates.
Right.
Michael Morrison has to be in there, surely.
I think he might even win it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Michael Morrison.
Omar Richards, maybe.
Yeah. I could see him in there, and I think. I don't know.
Actually, what I thought, should we have? So we have them two, which is Morrison and Richards. I don't think you could really separate Ajaria and Elise. I think both of them were fantastic today.
Yeah, so maybe them 4 then, perhaps.
Them 4.
Yeah.
So, Mark, if you're watching this podcast on a Monday, if I don't remind you, then we'll have these 4 as the man of the match candidates. Put a Twitter poll up, and then we'll see who's the winner. I think Morrison will win man of the match, just for his contribution on both sides of the pitch. but he's won. The thing is, I don't want to keep on giving it to him because he's won man of the match quite a few times this season. But it just goes to show how good that he's been. I remember his announcement of his signing on a free from Birmingham City, and
Yeah,
people were expecting Myasga to sign that day, and
right.
people were like, "Oh, it's Myasga, it's Myasga," and then
Yeah,
Morrison came, and people were like, "Oh, they were quite disappointed," but just goes to show how remarkable of a signing he's been. So
absolutely.
fantastic bit of business from the club on a
Mm,
free, probably doesn't cost too much in wages,
no.
experience in the dressing room, solidity at the back, attacking threat going forward, and is a leader.
I
Without
have to.
question, the
Oh,
leader.
definitely, absolutely, I totally agree. Like, because I have to admit though, I remember when, like you say, I remember myself when the signing was, when it came out, and I actually finished work, came out, and he'd already signed,
Mm.
and I didn't actually know that much of him, so I had to look him up. But from what I obviously saw, he was a no nonsense defender and put his body on the line, his head on the line, which we've seen over his time as well. And but yeah, he is a very important player in that back line for the reasons that you've already said, and obviously in the opposition box as well. And
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's just been totally solid, and um, it's just been a fantastic signing. I don't think you can really say anything else other than that. Just brilliant. I mean, as you said, his contributions in both boxes, and just for his leadership skills in the dressing room as well, because I think that's been much
mm,
needed
absolutely.
in previous season,
Mm,
because he's been captain whilst Liam Moore's been out. So how
yeah.
important do you think has he really been this season?
Oh,
Do you think he's
extremely important, because um obviously I think at the start of the season he had the partnership with Moore.
mm,
Um Obviously their understanding as a pairing were two of the best defenders in the division, I believe, anyway. Then obviously Moore went out and McIntyre came in. He's sort of um he's helped McIntyre along and that in that, because obviously McIntyre is still quite young,
yeah,
and he's still reasonably new-ish to the first team in the last sort of, couple of years or so, or few years perhaps. I can't remember exactly when he had his debut. But he's helped McIntyre come so far in his development, I believe. Um, Working together, obviously on the training pitch and in matches as well. And Morrison, he's not one to keep quiet. I don't, from
no,
what I've seen him on the pitch, on the
yeah,
TV and that, like obviously you get the close-ups with the cameras and that rather than being at the ground, you don't generally see um all of what goes on so much when you're up in the skies.
yeah,
But you just see Morrison sort of urging them on and
mhm.
you know and I think that helps the younger players, Holmes as well, as
Yeah. I think
so
it's helped McIntyre massively, even
yeah,
at the back end of last season when they were playing Morrison and McIntyre. They were playing in a pairing against Leeds, against Charlton, against
yeah,
Huddersfield, and we'd kept, I think it was 3 clean sheets in a week, and just go to show how important Morrison's been. You can tell that he likes his voice being heard. Michael Morrison basically said. Um,
yeah,
and he's been especially important because of Liam Moore's. Well, it was reported as falling out, but I think Mike Bowen and Liam Moore just didn't really get along, and therefore I think that's made Michael Morrison even more important as that
yeah,
kind of stable figure at the back. I remember, as you said, and as we've touched on, when he first signed, it came completely out of the blue. He's just a
yeah, it
local
did.
thought player, but he's absolutely solid and seems like a role model as well. And he's just been brilliant. And hopefully he goes into the coaching staff at Reading when his career is finished. I hope that we can make that.
I think that'd be amazing, to be fair. Yeah, I think that'd be great. It'd be like a John O'Shea sort of character, wouldn't he?
I think if we could make that position available for him, then that would be great. I really do. I think it'd be good. Anything else to say on the Rotherham game before we move on quickly to Blackburn?
Yeah, just like, happy overall with the performance and the result. The team battled well and sort of dealt reasonably well with any sort of difficulties that they came and faced in a physical Rotherham side. So yeah, I'm very happy with the overall game and obviously with the result as well. Yeah.
Moving on to Blackburn then. How are you feeling about the midweek game?
Hopefully the result today can obviously push them forward and build up a little bit of confidence before the game. Obviously we're back at home, so they've got a we've had a few difficulties at home of late, but I think got to keep an eye on a couple of their players like Harvey Elliott and Adam Armstrong up top. So there'll be a couple of players for Morrison and Moore and McIntyre and all them to keep an eye on, which I think they could. There's other players as well, like Bradley Dack as well, which could cause problems, just to name a few. But I think we could get a 2-1 win, if I'm honest. And that's my normal type of score prediction, to be honest, 2-1 or 2-0. I think we'll have, if we play to our capabilities, I think we'll have just a bit too much for them.
The good thing with my score predictions is whenever I predict us to win, we always seem to lose, and whenever I predict us to draw or lose, we always win. I predicted a 2-1 home loss for Blackburn on Tuesday, Wednesday. I can't remember when it is, in midweek. I thought that's the only game I thought we would struggle on. I thought we would have beaten Middlesbrough. I thought we would have beat Wickham. So hopefully, my prediction, I wouldn't say luck, but my prediction success or unsuccess continues, and we actually win on Tuesday. I'm really hoping so that I can come on the Insta Live on Tuesday night and have a similar type of buzz that I have today. So hopefully, so you're going for a 2-1 win. I'm going for a 2-1 loss, just because of how experienced Tony Mowbray is as a manager and how good Blackburn have been under him. So I'm going to go with that prediction. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully you're right. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What team would you put out? So we'll go through the team that we want to put out against Blackburn. Raphael in goal. Are we agreed?
I'd go Raphael in goal, definitely. Yeah. There's no sort of reason, I don't think, to drop him for Tuesday's game.
Richards at left back.
100%. Yeah.
Because you've got the choice there between McIntyre and Richards, but I'll go with Richards. Morrison and Moore again.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
No. Oh,
there we go. You're back.
Oh, sorry. I dropped my phone.
No worries. Technical difficulties.
Yep.
So Morrison and Moore, centre back. Morrison and Moore, centre back.
Yeah, I don't think you could change it after a clean sheet, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I think that'd be a cardinal sin if you change the centre back pairing after a clean sheet. I mean, we didn't look the most solid defensively today. I think at times we looked a tiny bit shaky, but we kept a clean sheet. What else can you really ask for?
Exactly.
Yiedom at right back?
I think so, for that attacking threat, and going, putting more pressure on their defence. And Holmes obviously is quite stabilised at the back, but I think Yiedom offers more going forward. So I can't argue with that.
I've let go of my diamond dream and I'm going to stick with the Paunovic system because it's quite clear that he's not going to change it. If you're not going to change it after a 1-0 defeat to Wycombe Wanderers, bottom of the league away, then I don't think you're going to change it for anything. So I'm going to go with Rinomhota and Laurent in central defensive midfield. What are you going to go with?
Can't disagree, to be honest. You know, I've thought and said so many times and how important them two are together, and you can't argue with it, to be honest.
Left wing Ajaria.
Yes. Yeah.
Centre attacking mid Elise.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the right, you know what? It'd be so easy to, on the right, chuck in Omen or Kamara, but I'm going to go with Aluko, I think. Just to give us that bit of width and that extra option down the wing. He could link up quite well with Yiadom, and that could prove to be the difference. You never know. I mean, Aluko, even this season, hasn't been very effective. He's been definitely improved, but he hasn't been too effective. But I think having Aluko there would give us that extra option. I mean, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to persist with Semedo, because why would you play Semedo at a relegation threatened team away and then play Blackburn Rovers and take your extra defensive option out? I don't think he'd do that, but my preferred lineup would be Aluko on the right, Lucas João up front.
I think so. Yeah, I'd like to see João and Puskás together at some point, just to give that support for João, because he's a little bit of a frustrated figure at the minute, and I think if he had Puskás as well, and I think them two together, they could sort of have a bit of a lethal partnership, really, on paper. But I think he would go with João, I think.
You almost want to give him a rest as well, wouldn't you? Because he's played so much and because of his injury record. But I think you have to start João. I think we've got a game on Tuesday, a game on Saturday, and then I don't think we have a midweek game after that. After next Saturday. So hopefully that gives him a bit of time to recover if he's not rested already, either against Blackburn or on Saturday. So we'll wait and see on that one. But hopefully Yaku Mate returns to the bench. He didn't today, but hopefully he does if he's fit enough, but on the condition that only that he's fit enough. We'll have Southwood, I think, on the bench. No brainer. With Estevez to be on there.
Gibson, maybe.
Well, the thing is, we've got McIntyre, Holmes, Estevez. Paunovic has gone for 4 defenders on the bench before.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of defenders there.
To be fair, we do have 9 options. So, but you probably have Puskás and Baldock as attacking options.
Yes.
So you'd have Southwood, Estevez, McIntyre, Holmes, Puskás, Baldock. You'd either have one of Onen or Kamara. I'd probably have Onen, Mate if he's fit, and Tetek.
Yes.
I'm not sure if Gibson is on his way back just yet. I need to double check that. There was rumours that he's on his way back, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check it. But I think that's the Blackburn game previewed. Hopefully we can get another win, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think we're always going to be nervous as Reading fans, especially around this time, when the gap between 6th and the other teams is closing. AFC Bournemouth even went above us at one stage because they played earlier against, I think it was Watford. There was a massive fight at the end.
Yes. Oh, I heard about that as well. Yeah.
Apparently, João Pedro was sent off, and
think Jack Wilshere, I think it was.
Jack Wilshere was sent off. Chalobah, I think, was given a yellow card, and I think that means he's suspended for the next
Right.
game as well. So it was absolute carnage at the end. But Bournemouth managed to get the win there. I think they've got Harry Redknapp on board with Jonathan Woodgate, and Joe Jordan, I saw on Twitter, is back at the club. Gary O'Neill, I think, is there as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's obvious that the automatic promotion dream is dead now. It's dead and buried, especially with the games in hand that Swansea have and all that. But we're still in the playoff zone at the moment, and who knows what will happen? Because Bournemouth are bound to slip up at some point. The teams below us are bound to slip up. Even Cardiff are bound to have a bad result because they've started off so well, and that's probably the new manager bouncing. Probably because Mick McCarthy's a really experienced manager, but I think they'll not drop off, but they've got to lose or draw at some point. Hopefully they do, otherwise it's going to be a bit interesting.
I think they drew today, didn't they, against Middlesbrough?
Mm-hmm. So that's a good result for us, I think.
That's what I thought, actually. When I saw that Middlesbrough scored, I thought, we've obviously got the 3 points today. They've dropped 2 points. That was quite, I was hoping for a draw with that one because obviously Borough, they're not that far behind. So,
I just hope we get out this mentality of, obviously as fans, naturally, we're going to look at the other teams, but I don't want to be thinking about other teams. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want us to win, the rest of our games so that we don't have to worry about, how other teams are doing and all that. And as soon as you start doing that quite in depth, I think that means you're in trouble. So hopefully we're not doing that too much.
I suppose, if you say, we win our games, we ain't got to worry about anyone else, have we, really? So that is a fair point.
I want it to be like the start of the season where we went unbeaten in our first 8 games, 1-7, drawn 1. That would be a massive boost, wouldn't it?
Imagine if we did that now.
You know what? Imagine if we did that. That would be quite something. We'd definitely secure our place in the top 6 for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Definitely. Yep, definitely.
So we've reviewed the Rotherham game, we've previewed the Blackburn game, and that's pretty much what's done on a Monday podcast. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you, David, for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me today.
Good debut.
Yeah, and a win.
We'll keep you in the starting 11, definitely. But thank you so much for coming on.
That's okay, mate.
Thanks, guys, for listening. I often forget that we're going to be in front of an audience, but thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Hopefully this becomes a regular occurrence in terms of doing the podcast every Monday. The Instagram live will be back on Tuesday night for Blackburn. I think it's Blackburn. I hope so, because we just previewed Blackburn, and if it's not them, then I'm going to look like such a wally. So hopefully it is. But we'll be back anyway Tuesday night for the Instagram live. Enjoy the rest of the podcast this week, and I'll see you probably next Monday if you're not on the Instagram live. So see you guys later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.